Hello, friend. Welcome. It's Carm Capriato with a special recording from Vision 2020, another on-site studio panel from your premier aftermarket podcast, Remarkable Results Radio, where you are guaranteed to learn just one thing. Hey, did I ever tell you how much I love doing live recordings? Well, here's one of them. And here's an ode to the people who continue to make our industry as successful as it is today. A big shout out to the technical trainers. This episode will bring you a candid and transparent discussion on the craft of the aftermarket automotive trainer. Here's a taste.
Not every good tech is a good teacher. Not every good teacher is a good training of techs, trainer of techs. True.
Hey, good day, Carm Capriato, the Automotive Aftermarket Podcast guy, pursuing excellence in quality content through the essential voices of the aftermarket. That's what I love to do. Now, as you continue to social distance, wear masks and be safe at home, even though we're an essential business and we're open, with some extra time on our hands, there's still things to learn and strategies to consider as we move into a new normal. Let our content right here on the podcast give light and bring results as we overcome our current situation. Hey, life as we know it has clearly changed, but the key to staying ahead is joining your community at Apex 2020 to reconnect. Now, we're in it together, no doubt, and together we will all move ahead. The dates for Apex, November 3rd through the 5th at the Sands Expo and Caesars Forum Conference Center in Las Vegas. A perfect time to reconnect. Register now at aapexshow.com. I hope to see you there. If you're new to the podcast, we produce another great and important resource, the Town Hall Academy. Now, you don't want to miss one of these single subject forums that are aired live every Friday on Facebook. It is repurposed as a podcast every Thursday. A fantastic resource for everything aftermarket and for the perpetual student. Everything we've done with a COVID theme is cataloged on my homepage, remarkableresults.biz, all there in one place from Carmcasts, Remarkable Results Radio, and Town Hall Academies. And please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app. If you need options, go to remarkableresults.biz/subscribe. In this episode, I'm with Jerry Trugliais from ATTS, Automotive Technical Training Services, and they hold the big event each year. Dave Hobbs is here from Delphi Product and Service Solutions, and Peter Orlando from CTI. Now, this was a fun episode and extremely relaxed. These guys talked about the time it takes to prepare training, the relationships with their students, and how they keep them engaged, and also the lifelong commitment it takes to be great at this craft. Find the talking points for a useful career plan at remarkableresults.biz/E532. Hey, join me right now for a fun time with these aftermarket trainers. Hey, it's Carm here in the Vision 2020 studio. I'm with Dave Hobbs from Delphi Technologies, Peter Orlando from CTI WTI out in Raleigh, Jerry Trugliais from ATTS TST, trainers here at Vision. And I think this is a treat to be able to listen to what's going on with trainers and their background perspective as they look at the classes that they give, the students that they have, and the hard work it takes to build a training thing. Dave, when you're standing in front of your class and getting ready to present, any nervous jitters ever?
Oh, definitely. In fact, the fewer times I've taught the class, the more nervous jitters. But even if I've done it over and over and over, it's like you never know who's going to be there, what the expectations are, especially Vision. Vision's a high mark. I almost compare it to like a cult of super high-tech technicians. And so there's that pressure. And then once you're there and they start nodding, not nodding off, but nodding like they understand, or they interact, they answer questions and so forth, then you can feel at ease. But that's just I took Dale Carnegie many years ago. That's one of the things they taught us in public speaking is you need a little bit of nervous jitters for animation, so you're not like Ben Stein, the dry eyes guy.
Gee, how many hours you have to put in to build a class?
Oh, there's so many. It really does take months to put something together. It's months.
It's months.
Months. And, my stuff, since it's real world, comes out of my shop. Yeah. There's pictures that you got to put in. There's stuff you got to move around. You have to document the story. I'm lucky that I write for a magazine, so I'm so used to documenting stuff. Yeah. And I put the real world stuff in my class, and that's what the guys like.
That's right.
And that's
And
that's something that's important.
And when you tell that story, you're part of the gang.
You bet.
Yeah.
You're it.
Exactly.
You're in with us. You're in the trenches.
You're a peer. You're not just some instructor.
The kind of relationships that you build with your students.
At break time and after class, the networking. When they talk to you about I had more questions. Like, I guess maybe I talk pretty fast and maybe I don't give time for questions, but they come up break and they got great questions. It turns into great conversations, and you don't want to go back off a break. You just want to continue that, but there's only 3 or 4 people. So you owe it to the other 30, 40, 80, whatever, to get back into the class. But that's where a lot of the real training happens.
Right. But I think
after you had a break or after class is over.
In between sessions.
Right. I'd agree, but I think that's people that are embarrassed to ask the question. I always start a class with, look, I don't know everything because I want to get down. And a couple of people have come up to me and they go, you know what I like about you? You don't talk down to us. And I'm like, talk down to you? Why would I even think of talking down to anyone?
Are you telling me that there are trainers that may do that?
I'm just going by what people told me. I don't know.
Well, I think I may have been doing it in the past with equipment. I'd be doing the air conditioning update classes, and I kind of thought to myself, well, everybody's got like a 2710, so you need to get up to the 2788 machine with the latest SAE standard, for the small capacity cars. And I started doing with one of our customers, tours, like the day of class, the evening. I would go out and like visit shops, and I'm seeing guys that are like laying a 30-pounder virgin can of 134A on the ground, not even on a scale, and late model cars, and they're charging it with pressures. And I'm like thinking, well, that's not right. But the dude's got more cars in his parking lot than probably my dad did when he's running a shop. So he's doing something right, but he's not doing AC right. So I quit being so much like equipment shaming, And it's like, okay, here's the challenge. If you don't have a 2788 machine, you don't have the new 1234 YF machine, put it on your goal. Another way, so don't insinuate you're a dummy if you don't have it.
Well, I think I know where you're going there. And what I always tell people is, I got the G, got a half an O. If I had the other half an O and D, I'd be God. Only God knows everything. And I tell them I made a mistake on that car. I even put it in writing in a Motor Rage article. And I think they like that because they realize, and even when I do a webcast, I go, this is live. And some people go, oh, no, you got to cut that out. I don't cut anything out. If it happened, it's going to happen to you.
The real world stumbles are great.
I'm glad you said you do that too, G, because I had an instructor one time scold me because I had a case study of a bus electrical center that went up in flames from probing the wrong terminal. And the whole point was the bus electrical centers can be very, very delicate. Yeah. Outside, you got fuses, but inside, you can smoke them. And I admitted I was the one that burned it up. And they go, well, I would admit that you were the one. But I think, if I tell the dumb Dave tricks for the benefit of them learning from me not to do this, not to do that.
Wait a minute. Is there going to be the book called The Dumb Dave Tricks coming out?
You ask my wife, it'll be 3 volumes, okay?
Who's on that bus, Dave?
Fred's on that bus. He's dumber than heck.
Peter, do you find that, or do you encourage your student to, if they see you in the hall, they see you in the class, please come up, get my card, shake my hand, let's become friends?
Always. I encourage it. When I start my class, every class, I try and make sure that they understand, just to kind of break the ice. I encourage any and all questions that you have as we go through this presentation. Something I say, something you see in the slides, something you read. Please make sure you ask any questions. There's a reason why we write objectives. Okay. We want everybody to understand you're here because you obviously want to be here. And I'd like to share with you up front what we expect as a group today as a class to learn. And hopefully if I hit all of those objectives, they can go back Tuesday morning, 9:00, hit that car on the first job ticket and exercise or utilize something that they learned in class. And if again, they don't, we hope that the resources that they take with them are going to become valuable at some point in their careers.
I definitely encourage questions. I say there's no such question as a dumb question, only one you don't ask. And I said, look, don't worry about the guy sitting next to you, behind you, in front of you. He's a bigger a-hole than you are. So don't be afraid of it because it's adult education and we don't know what we don't know. We have to ask a question.
Networking, guys, have you ever gotten in front of your class? There's 150 in the class and say, do me a favor, shake the guy to the left or to the right's hand and get to know this person because I want you to start
That could be dangerous in New York.
This is the coronavirus week, right?
Oh my God, I know.
Everything.
Yeah, well, so not everybody knows when we're recording this. I mean, wow, they just canceled a whole bunch of big events.
Cornwell,
STX.
Microsoft.
It is outrageous to think that people must know something that we don't. Hey, this year Apex will be more of an aftermarket homecoming celebration than ever before. Not only will it have all kinds of exciting new things waiting for you, but most importantly, Apex 2020 will be where industry colleagues, friends, and family reunite after this time apart, and together it will drive the industry forward. I know I'm looking forward to it more than I ever have because I get to see all of you. Until we get there, keep yourselves and your families and your businesses healthy and safe. Now, there's no place like home, and we can't wait to welcome you home in November at Apex 2020. The power of being there, November 3rd through the 5th at the Sands Expo and Caesars Forum Conference Center in Las Vegas. Register now at aapexshow.com. To encourage his trainers in front of a group to help the techs that may be here for the first time or maybe are too bashful or maybe they're done with the class, they go to dinner, and they go up to their room, then to figure out how to get a number, get an email, get a Facebook like, and to build their network. Isn't there value in that?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah. And techs have an ego, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Ego's a good thing if it's healthy. Like a fighter pilot's got to have an ego that if I go up in the air, I can shoot down the enemy plane, period. A technician's got to have an ego or self-confidence to it. No matter what car comes in for whatever problem, I may have to call to get some help, but I can fix it. So that's great, but then they have to admit, I don't know enough. I need to know more. The guy sitting next to me may know more. So that kind of works against the humility of asking questions. The natural ego they need works against the humility of asking questions.
I think there's definitely an embarrassment factor. I've been doing classes so many years. I think most people, male, female in your class, are afraid to ask questions. I walk the room. I move around through people all the time. I never stay in one spot because I'll go up and go, hey, Peter, how you doing? Hey, Dave. And just give them confidence. You know that. And that seems to break the ice.
That's good. It's a good idea. I like that.
I just don't stand up front. When you're standing up front, you're like the priest. People are afraid.
Did you hear what he just said? I like that. So my question now is, what are you guys doing to continually learn how to be a better
right now, you're facilitating that, Carm.
Oh, it's cool.
Because we share stuff back and forth, and probably if we didn't have this venue to do this, we would be talking politics or wrenches or something.
So wait till we get to the highlight idea.
When we're not writing, I can't tell you how the extensive amount of reading that goes along with doing the research for the products that we have to prepare, the curriculum that we have to develop. That is never ending. So whether it's SAE specifications or documentation from the OEs, we come to a conference this large with the student base that we have here. We want to make sure that if they do come to class, they do have something to take back, which is that research and development that we all worked, so hard to produce
and that information
put in front of them.
Right.
And I have your attention.
Yeah.
My students for 3 and 4 hours. I'm not going to see you again for, another year. We hope to put something in front of them
and you want to make sure when you put something in print, I call it the Automotive Bible, the Bosch Automotive Handbook, version 10 through SAE. You have to sometimes have research, all data, pro demand, Motologic, Identifix. You need this stuff. Sometimes you may think something works a certain way. I want to triple check myself before I put it in writing because I don't want someone to get the wrong idea. I've read many articles over the years or something in a book that was not right. Okay.
And it spreads. And even theories, I'll hear it from one instructor. I'll assume it's right. He did the research, and then I'll regurgitate it, and another instructor, and another, and before you know it, it's passed faster than the coronavirus, and it's misinformation. So I try to catch myself not to do that, to stop it when I can, but I'm sure I'm as guilty as the next person passing that on.
Yeah, but a good diagnostician always wants to prove
Yeah.
Find the root cause. If you read something, wait a minute. If it's from this person, it's reliable, it's been published, you're going to assume it's right.
I try to do multiple sources and as much as I can, hands-on validation.
All right.
Right. Okay. That's the big thing. If you could really, try to duplicate it hands-on, there's nothing better. One thing I always noticed is if you don't do repeatability testing. Now, we used to do this with dynos and stuff where you had to get the same results multiple times. If you don't get repeatability, who knows what you may just be in the wrong arena.
It's a fluke, a
it's
ghost,
like that
whatever.
that balanced tire.
Yeah.
Take it off, dismount it, put it back on. If I spin it again, it better come up zeros.
True.
If I can't do that, how can I trust my equipment? Same with scopes.
Yep.
Same with scan tools. Getting back to the question in the class, we're so fortunate, again, at events like Vision, that we have technology at our fingertips that kind of assists our audiences now. This was the first year I actually worked with this class that I did here at Vision this Thursday, the Essential Electrical Training for Domestic OE Schematics. This was the first time I used the question and answer polling technology.
Oh, I almost signed up for that. How'd that go?
It worked very well. It absolutely worked well because there's the
You were able to run it by yourself?
Yeah, well, exactly. I did.
It's great.
I did. And it did work because I had 12 questions strategically placed throughout the presentation that came from their books.
Yeah.
So I didn't want them to feel that although the question was on the big screen, that question's not in your books. It is. And there's a big blank line there for you to put the answers. So you're actually leaving with all of those answers to those questions. And a good percentage of the audience answered the questions.
So they're getting retention.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for the three of us, and I probably speak for every instructor, we love the fact that they remember, they get retention, they can use that. Otherwise, we feel like we just, we did a concert, we sang them a song, entertained them for an hour. So we want them to retain it. And if they answer those questions, that's good. And we love the feedback.
And it was anonymous.
Even if they say, you know what, you said you were going to talk about this one topic on bullet point 3 in your objectives. You didn't. I need to hear that too.
Oh, yes.
Because I got to fix myself.
And let's say sometimes we kind of go off on a different tangent in case someone asks you a question. It's easy to get into that. I try to stay on track where I look up at the screen, but boy, oh boy, sometimes that does happen. You go, where was I?
That goes off the rails.
That's a big challenge,
it goes off the rails
for me.
once in a while. It's the real deal.
Hey, G, what happens when your PowerPoints disappear from the cloud?
Well, I can't say it on the air. How about that?
All right.
I just had one.
Yeah, I know.
One nightmare there.
We won't go into it, but I'm just sharing your pain with the audience of what can happen. Anybody ever fall asleep in the class? What do you do about it?
Oh, that's one of these.
You just ruined my equipment.
That's it.
I move around because I learned if you move your voice, then that sometimes wakes them up. But I also look, and if they we were just talking to the Australian technicians, which I'm actually super inspired by these Australian guys that are here because they do so much with such little information. They don't get the Mitchell All Data, Toyota, text, TIFs and all that. They don't get that. They can't get it in their country. They don't have like NAFTA and people going to their Congress, their parliament and, bending the ear and getting that dealer information. The dealers keep it to themselves. So, but they're jet lagged. And when a gentleman shared with me, I think it's Chad from Australia, he said, don't mind me. I'll just be walking along and almost fall over. And I've been there. I've flown back from, and you've been overseas, the west to the far east. You fly back to the east, back to the U.S. from the west. Yeah. It's usually worse. Yep. You'll just be going along with your business. And all of a sudden, it's almost like you have a sleep apnea. Yeah. You just fall over.
You're out.
Stuff. I never take it out on those guys, but try to make it lively because my dad had sleep apnea and he'd be sitting in a great AC Delco class, or we used to do a lot of AC Delco classes back in the day, and he would fall asleep. He'd fall asleep at the dinner table if he didn't have a fork in his hand. Mm-hmm. That was just a hard-working guy.
There's the highlighter in your hand.
Yeah, there you go.
If I have to.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a great no-sleep thing. All right, guys, let's cover the highlighter for us, will you?
Do the highlighter. Come on.
I don't teach a class I try to make sure that my students have highlight markers or at least a pen that they can underline in their books. And I make sure if I'm trying to make a point that I know is written in their book in a sentence that they can go back on, at least they have highlighted notes. And that takes their mind off and shifts their educational reference for a split second off of not just what I'm saying. I'm asking them to do
I want
something.
to, if I'm not writing and I'm highlighting, maybe they're the same thing. I want to remember this. And if not, I want to have a reference to come back to to the books. One of the things that I learned, and I read a lot of business books. And in fact, let me show you. I just reached over to get a book that I'm reading called The Gift of the Struggle, Life-Changing Lessons About Leading. And if I want to remember something here,
Oh, look at all those notes.
yeah, in the front cover, in the front couple of blank pages, I'll reference something that I want to go back to, because I'll go out and I'll say, what book was that in? So instead of going through the entire book or the handout and trying to find it, oh, by the way, I'm also backing up what I want to remember from the front cover. So the front cover of the training manual could have reference notes, because if they're using the manuals right,
it becomes a resource.
Yes.
You know, I wonder why some
it's
techs,
a tool in the box.
Yeah.
Some techs are hesitant to write in their books. It could be because they just don't want to interact. You know, they're just kind of deadbeats. But it also could be, if I just now thought of this, because I saw your book and it's like, it's ruined. You could never sell that book on the used market.
I don't want
Remember how we used to like get, we would get like fined in school
Oh, yeah,
if
got
we
fined.
marked in our books.
Yeah.
So that's ingrained into us. Or like more modern people, you know, you sell your college textbooks, you know, and get your money back.
Yeah.
Not if they're full of your notes,
Right.
but if you keep them, and these books we give out, guys, they keep them forever, right? Hope they don't throw them away.
Most guys
So
keep
I need
They
to,
should
I need to
create
encourage that. It
reference
just
points back
triggered
into
that.
the back of the book, and when they get there, the highlighter is focused on exactly where they need to look.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Pulls their eyes right in there.
I'm kind of like you when I make reference notes, like my SAE.
Yeah.
My Bosch handbook is marked up with notes, the sticky notes, and I'll put it as far into the book as I possibly can to leave just a little bit. And on the outside, like a tab, I'll write down lubricants.
Perfect.
I'll write down steering suspension.
Yeah.
You must have been to my house to see what I do.
Oh, you remember Pete this morning when they wasn't writing a lot of notes, but when I said take a picture of this bonus slide,
Oh, yeah.
oh my goodness, it was like 50 smartphone cameras came out. I tell them that's the modern day note procedure.
Did you feel like Taylor Swift up there?
They wasn't shooting me. They were shooting the screen.
Yeah, but you were there. Hey, look at guys, the young trainers that are coming up. Needless to say, your hair color is the same as mine, Dave.
I have none.
I think yours is, but it's hanging in the back.
Right.
And I don't know what color yours is.
This is the years of dogs.
Okay.
That's why I have no hair.
You actually look just like Kojak. I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
The point is that we have to groom and grow new and young trainers. And I know there's a bunch of them coming up. How important is anyone who has a passion for training to try to figure out maybe how to do this?
It's super important, but I think, anyone coming up needs to pay their dues per se. You cannot become a Dave Hobbs or a Peter Orlando or a Thornton or a Bernie overnight. You're going to need to season yourself little by little. And that doesn't mean, to actually take a curriculum here that whether it was Delphi or in this case, WorldPac, CTI, and present it, you got to be a presenter one way. My mentor, Armin Hines, that you probably remember, Armin Hines used to teach all over the world for the U.S. Army, full bird colonel. They flew him everywhere. This guy you believe he knows everything. That's how good this guy is. You have to sell yourself. Right. You have to change your voice high or low. You got to keep people engaged.
Yes.
And you need to know that part. You also need to know a lot of knowledge. You're not going to know everything. And a little trick that I was always taught was there's always someone smarter than you. So you know what you do? Hey, Calm, what do you do? What type of? Oh, I'm a BMW expert. Dave, oh, I'm GM. I worked for GM 34 years. Peter, oh, yeah, I'm Mercedes guy. I'm going to remember these guys, and I'm going to call on them because guaranteed they do know more than me. But sometimes young people come up, and it can be super cocky, especially on some social media stuff. They push each other to get to the top, and that's not the real way to go. They got to earn their dues. And what they're teaching, is that correct?
How do you get a break?
Well, you know what? How we got a break years back, like in the New York State program. You went under someone. How do you get a break in really being a good tech? You should work under a master tech.
But there's also companies like WTI and
we recognize and we mentor.
You've got a ton of trainers. Are you the only trainer?
At Delphi, full-time. We have contract trainers, but I'm the only full-time guy.
Okay.
Oh, really now? Only full-time? Wow.
Yeah, it's one.
I got a guy that I'm breaking in, one guy that works for me, and he's a young guy, and I am breaking him in because I said, hey, I can't do this forever. No. We need people that are knowledgeable. He's good, and you got to develop your personality.
And the beautiful thing about the industry that we're in is they're in our audience. Carm, they're there.
They're there. They're there.
You just have to source them out.
You know, one of my tasks, official tasks, is to recruit and vet contract instructors for Delphi Technologies. And we have a guy who's really good at sales. I think his dad might have been a mechanic, and he does, wrenching at home, just, for his own maintenance and so forth. But he sold parts forever. He's really a knowledgeable guy, very personal guy, a good sales guy, and he wants to do training. And I'm thinking, well, you'd be great for the service writer classes and that kind of thing. But on the other hand, on the technical courses, he doesn't have the depth to really attack it that deep. And if he gets asked, he could maybe learn the material and recite it very well. But if he gets asked questions, he could be in trouble.
You got to back it up with real world experience, right?
Yes, and be able to relate. He can relate to the technicians because he sells them parts. So I have a hope for him. What my mentor and my hero that inspired me to get into training was Gib Hunter from AC Delco. He was an English high school teacher. And he would not claim to be, I'm not a tech. I don't know like you guys do, but GM has sent me through all their training. I know this material. I'm going to present it to you. And then you tell me what you think. We respected that humility, and we didn't pick on him because he'd never done a valve job or, put a piston ring in. And it worked out great. We respected Gib, and I thought he knew everything.
Well, he could be like a good actor, right? He could be like a good actor.
Yeah,
and that's important as well.
Yeah. He was a teacher.
He was a teacher.
Yeah. And you guys are technicians that wanted to become and are good trainers.
Right. Not every good tech is a good teacher. Not every good teacher is a good training of techs, trainer of techs.
True. Everybody asked me, what were you going to do for your promo video? And I said, I'm going to try and tie musicianship into being a technician. And the easy way to do that is you go into a toolbox to grab a specific tool to, perform a specific task, do a specific job. When my bandmates ask me, Peter, begin Aerosmith's, Walk This Way.
Yeah.
And do you have to know the song as a musician? What do you think? I said, yeah, because especially if the audience, in this case, we're talking about technicians, but you could imagine if you went to a concert and you knew that they began your favorite song and somebody hits a bad note and you know the song like the back of your hand, the whole audience is going to know you made a mistake.
Right.
There's no such thing as 96%. There's no such thing as 99% when you're dealing with music. When you're dealing with fixing cars, we should have and strive for that same percentage. We're not perfectionists, but we should at least strive.
We should. But I'm going to tell you something else. You asked what it takes to be a trainer. What it takes to be a trainer is an audience that gives you grace sometimes. I just thought of my first vision classes, I want to say 18 years ago. And I did a Fred Takes the Bus, a data busing, and I was really good at it. I liked it. I already did the video and everything, and I felt I did a good job, knocked out of the park. Then I did a variable valve timing, GM 4200 engine class. And I was nervous as all get out. I had never presented it yet, and I had totally stunk. And there were enough professional gentlemen in that class that gave me good enough marks. There were some people that hacked me up like I deserved, but there was enough where Sherry had me back in the future. I thought, well, you did a good one, then you laid an egg, you'll never come back, or they won't have any mercy. They did. The organizations have mercy and have you back, and the technicians come back, and they see you get better. Just like you start out as a new tech, you're not going to be the ace.
I love what he just said. I love what he just said. And you get better.
You do.
Always.
You do. For years I taught Aspire stuff that wasn't mine when I wasn't writing curriculum, and other companies as well.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, I think, when you're doing that. You're more of a presenter. When you start writing your own curriculum and you know it, you lived it, it's a lot easier.
It is.
And I think you come across like, wow. This guy really knows this stuff. And that's what I like to hear from the tech.
Wow. I want to tell you, we can go on for hours. Can I ask you all this? Can we do part 2 next year right here?
You'd love
We
to.
certainly can.
We could do it at the big event.
Are you all going to be there?
I'll be there.
I'll be there. I have to be there.
Well, now I have to be there now.
You got to be there.
Listen, if you're not you're not going to be there, we'll get somebody to pinch hit for you. Okay, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Jerry Trugliais from ATTS and TST. And gosh, Dave Hobbs is here from Delphi Technologies, and my new friend Peter Orlando from CTI WTI out of Raleigh. Hey guys, this was great. To my audience, if you don't learn something from this, shame on you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.